me, pickle pea, bumperum.
The flames of the original souls are dying, and the world of Dark Souls is once again on the verge of fading into the dark. Now that the world is barely fueled on these sputtering embers, only the Unkindled One can alter the history of the world. For ash seeketh embers. If I may, the first thing I would like to address is the beauty of this quest for souls. As with all tales in this series, you find yourself in a world long past its prime, standing on the precipice of destruction. Just about every corner of this world depicts this, with crumbling architecture and enemies run ragged by the horrors of their world. The general aura that the game evokes is a delicate balance between hope and despair that is almost impossible to fully replicate. Yet the developers have managed to bring it back its essence once again and make it unique enough for those who have gone through the past iterations to find new mechanics to indulge in and an expanded world to explore.
Ah, the wait has been long, Unkindled One. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their churning homes converging at the base of this castle. Head to the bottom of the high wall, forge on through the great gate, and raise this banner to proceed.
As this is the third in its story arc, Dark Souls 3 borrows heavily on the games of the past. If you haven't played the original Dark Souls, the opening for this game begins with several spoilers in regards to what happened in the previous games in the series. In Dark Souls 3, you play as the champion of Ash, an undead warrior who is labeled as unkindled. Unkindled undead are unique in that they cannot sacrifice themselves to extend the Age of Fire. If none of this makes any sense, then you should probably go back and learn the history of the original Dark Souls, as the story will get more confusing from here if you aren't familiar with its lore. As the Unkindled, your job is to go and find the Lords of Cinder and return them to their thrones. Only then can the Age of Fire be extended or extinguished forever. Unlike Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3 draws heavily from its predecessor's story and location, bringing back key elements and making many references to the games that came before it. Also, like in past games, Dark Souls 3 plays as a game with a rich lore but virtually no narrative to speak of, excluding that toad in its opening. The majority of the story can be found hidden in the nooks and crannies of its world, allowing the player to seek out or ignore as much information as they wish.
Ah. You're no jailer, are you? No, you're from far away. And judging by the bell, you must be some of that unkindled ash. Remarkable. If that's true, then I have a favor to ask.
For those who hoped that the game might have become easier or more forgiving than those that came before, you will be disappointed. Dark Souls 3 is as hard, if not harder, than its ancestors, punishing the overconfident and tearing the meek apart. The Souls games have never been a series for the light-hearted, and Dark Souls 3 is no different. Like the past games in the series, you mainly find yourself wandering around this decrepit world, fighting your way through the various enemies that wish to remove your head from your shoulders. Eventually, you will find yourself face to face with one of the many bosses that the game throws your way, and, like the past games in the series, they are likely to rend your flesh from your bone more than a few times. It would be wrong to spoil too many of the encounters you will have, as finding them is half of the experience, but once you find them, do not be surprised if you find yourself in awe, as they are likely to leave you amazed and disgusted. As you progress, you can learn about the world and its gloomy past through various items and souls that you will pick up. The Soul series has never been one to blatantly tell you what is happening, nor spell out how things are connected. It gives you the strands and lets you piece the tapestry together on your own. For those who have followed the Dark Souls continuity up until this point, you may find yourself astonished that there will be some returning faces in this game, as well as throwbacks to what has happened previously. Like in past games, the joining and invasion system are here both to help and hinder your progress. After a certain point in the game, you will gain the ability to become embered. When you are embered, not only are you more powerful, but you can have other players join your game in order to assist you if you find that you are struggling with a particular point in the game. You can also use red eye orbs in order to attack other players and steal their souls. However, as Ash seeketh embers, being embered will also attract invaders, thus nearly ensuring that you will be invaded and attacked by other unkindled in certain areas of the world. Like in past games, a certain standard has begun to form in the community. Certain weapons are used and certain ones are forgotten. Whether or not the infighting between the Ashen is more or less balanced than the tales of the past is going to be very greatly based off of whom you speak with. Pyromancy and miracles, the magic of this world, are much more viable in the single player than in the past. However, they still pale when dueling another Ashen one. From a musical standpoint, Dark Souls 3's music is hauntingly beautiful. Orchestral pieces mixed with an evocative chorus, making moments that will be unforgettable by many. There were even times where some were almost drawn to tears by its music, as it was able to tell a tale of loss with a single song that was able to shake the listener to their very core. While testing the games on multiple platforms, we found that all had significant performance issues when it came to various points in the game. A high-power PC, while having the smoothest gameplay and almost always running at a smooth 60 frames, would at times stutter and begin to lock up for seemingly little to no reason. The PlayStation 4 version that we spent the most time testing with experienced frame rate dips that were far less severe, but still occurred frequently enough to become a problem when facing multiple enemies at once, or when you were invaded by another character. For those who have never played a Souls title but like their games with challenge and are willing to fight their way through this disheartening but beautiful world, I wholeheartedly recommend that you give this series a chance. Though I would not recommend starting with Dark Souls 3, as there will be much that you will not understand without having played the previous Dark Souls titles. For those, however, already amongst the chosen undead who wish to join the ranks of the unkindled warriors, please join. Being unkindled means being a vessel for souls, and yours is sorely